Are you ready to be the best that you can be? Join hybrid business coach and consultant Charity Brown and her guest as they give you behind-the-scenes access to the insider tips and tricks that will help you take your business to the next level. Charity has an extraordinary approach to boosting businesses to break out of their modes, influence their industries, and become leaders of their packs. And she's ready to pass this inspiring knowledge on to you today. Learn how to change your game and build your business into what you've always dreamed of, right here on the Create Clarity with Charity podcast.
Hello and welcome to Create Clarity with Charity. I am so excited about my guest today because we are certainly in alignment when it comes to mindset and really getting people dialed in for success. Today we have Jeff Griswold with us. He's the CEO of Effective Learning Systems and the developer of the WiseGuide App.com. Hi, Jeff.
Hi, thank you for having me, Charity.
Thanks. I'm so happy you're here. We've had quite the conversation about all your amazing developments throughout the years and the helpful tools that you have for entrepreneurs and people to help free their minds. So let's talk about you. I'm really excited to introduce you to my audience because you really do have a lot of those evolutionary entrepreneur qualities. You've really gone through the gauntlet of, getting your degrees, working in corporate and jumping out of corporate into entrepreneurialism. And now you're sitting at the front of an amazing business that your dad helped create. So let's talk about that. Let's talk about who you are in your journey and, how this all started.
Okay. I guess we could start at the beginning, my childhood.
Okay.
Now it was unremarkable in a lot of ways because I've just grew up in a suburban home in Minneapolis. Great parents, great neighborhood, great schools. Nothing particularly remarkable about it. But what was unusual was what my father was involved in when I was a kid. He was a true pioneer in the development of human potential. Before meditation was, a regular everyday thing and mainstream like it is now, he was pioneering these techniques and teaching these weekend classes. He'd have these workshops where people would come in on Saturdays and Sundays, and he would spend time training them on how to do these techniques to change their lives. And since we didn't have daycare then. That was my daycare. I would go in, I would take these classes over and over again and learn how to use these techniques to, so for me, it was kind of normal. I didn't know how unusual it was. Plus the people that I got to meet growing up, because he was working with people like Norman Cousins, Buckminster Fuller, Wayne Dyer, Joyce Brothers. I got a chance to meet all these people. And, I still have the drawing of the geodesic dome that Buckminster Fuller drew for me on the back of a Perkins placemat. So I've got that in a frame. So anyway, so I was exposed to some really interesting, powerful stuff growing up as a kid. But I grew up, I went on and did my own thing.
Back then, do you remember what your favorite tool was from that you just really liked every time they do the envisioning, or maybe they did a meditation, or maybe there was like a sound bowl, or what, like as a kid, do you remember was like your favorite tool you picked up back then?
So there's one technique that he would teach where, he, in a lot of his programs, he guides you into this deep, relaxed state of mind, right? And so you get into the alpha or theta level, and it guides you through imagery and visualizations. There's one that he would do where you create a place of your own, a place of comfort and love. And so you're imagining this physical place. And he introduced us to counselors, right? So you could bring in one or two counselors. It could be anybody you want it to be, anything you want it to be. And these would be entities that you could consult on problems that you're facing. Yeah. So obviously it's a part of you these
Mhm.
consultants, these counselors
Yeah.
you'd introduce. So I remember that as a kid and it being really kind of unusual, but
Were you in like
that's
rainbow and unicorn land, or were you in like a field full of rainbows and waterfalls? Or
no. I ended up, so my place looked a lot like the deck of the Starship Enterprise, right?
Oh,
This
awesome.
round room with just windows all the way around, and it was on a mountaintop. So I
Oh,
was in this comfortable
cool.
place with a beautiful view. Um, yeah, so
That's
that was,
lovely. I love
yeah,
that. I'm gonna do that.
okay.
And I bet you probably have that meditation on the app.
Yes, yeah.
Okay,
A
cool.
couple of the meditations in there include the, introducing you to your counselor and
Uh-huh.
going in and
That's so
having
interesting.
them help you.
Have you heard of Lazarus?
No.
Oh, yeah. So, yeah, that was when I was young, when I was like 11 or 12, maybe even 9, 10, 11, 12. My parents were really into metaphysics and like counselors, and we did that meditation too. But it was
Okay.
by a guy named Lazarus, who was
Oh,
like this spiritual, you know, universal being. It's very
okay.
amazing. But
All right.
back to you.
Yeah.
Anyway, I like you better because you're real. I can see Lazarus was just kind of, I'm not sure. I think he was made in a studio, but
All right.
so,
Interested.
yeah. But cool. So you learned all the amazing techniques, and then you went off into young adulthood and started a successful life as, a college student, and got your engineering degree. And
Yeah, I've lived a lot of careers. I think
Mhm.
is one way
Yeah.
to get, because I went off. I ended up getting a mechanical engineering degree.
Oh.
Loved math. Was good at engineering. Thought
Well,
that
there's
could
your
be interesting.
spaceship enterprise you were envisioning. So
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
yeah.
And I ended up building aircraft, right?
Oh,
So I was
wow.
designing aircraft for a military contractor. And I was getting flown on and off of aircraft carriers because we were
Wow.
designing these airplanes for the Navy. And so great, wonderful experiences. Um, but when I was growing up and I saw the impact that my father had on individuals and how many of his students ended up being friends of our family
Oh, nice.
because he made such a big difference in their lives. Yeah, I wasn't getting that at the military contractor. I was a cog in a giant machine. And, one thing that occurred to me is that if I did my job really, really well, I was creating things that did a great job of killing people or destroying things.
Oh, no.
So now the definitely a noble purpose of protecting the United States and its allies, which
Right.
I've, no qualms about at all. It was, we had a very important job that we did, but there was something about being able to impact somebody's life, one-on-one personally that was missing
Yeah.
from that job.
So
So
not a lot
I
of attitude of gratitude there at the military bases, right?
not a lot. Yeah.
Yeah. And that fulfillment, that appreciation and value, and just, when you start transforming people's lives like your dad was, I mean, nothing can stop you when you're helping people to be better, right?
Yeah.
So I love that. Like, you really took the risk and you said, hey, I guess actually after you had opened 100 learning centers, so you actually jumped ship, right? And went on to your entrepreneurial um, endeavors and really started making some changes in the learning center space.
Yeah, yeah. After I got my master's in business and was a management consultant for a few years, it kind of really built my toolbox. That's when I had the opportunity to really grow something, where I was wearing all the hats, or a lot of the hats anyway. A good friend of mine from college wanted some help with his after school education center business. And so we got in there, and at the time we had like 10 centers. And within 2 years, it was around 100 centers in 5 different states. So it was just high energy, really applying all the knowledge that I gained from being a consultant and getting my MBA. But
Mhm.
one critical thing about that, though, was even though it took all that we had about, our management knowledge, the thing that really drove that was the mission, right? Our mission was helping kids learn,
Yeah.
right? And it was, kids who were struggling, who needed to catch up, or kids who were just so far ahead that they needed a challenge. They needed to, really have that love of learning and continue to grow. And
Yeah.
so, even though I was, managing it and opening in centers in different places, every week I had the opportunity to spend a couple hours in the centers working with the kids, talking to the parents, and really delivering that one-on-one, value
Yeah,
in helping
really
people.
changing their lives, that one-on-one support and
Yeah.
believing in them, instilling everything that you had when you were a kid, the positive self-belief, the security and communication skills, and just to help them really develop into much better adults. So I love that, because what is more rewarding than helping the kids, right? I mean, they deserve it more than anyone anyway. So
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
they're our future. So I love that. And I know that there was, maybe some a big shift, right? After you opened 100 locations in 5 different states, you had a business partner. You invested in some other businesses like New Wave Online portal software companies, and that kind of threw you through a loop, and the kind of tornado happened, and then
Oh
spit
yeah,
you
yeah.
out and
Definitely part of
never.
that internet gold rush in the late 90s that ended up for a lot of people, including me, crashing spectacularly right after the new century. So yeah, I definitely went through that, had the setbacks, and you know, um, it's all
And so
part of
recovering from
growing.
that, let's talk about that, because this is a show about truth and being authentic, and not just all the rainbows and unicorns. It's the truth about entrepreneurship. It's the truth about being a business owner. It's the truth about holding all the liability and putting yourself at risk, and your time and your energy and your money, and really standing on the front lines of innovation and doing something that other people haven't done before, and rolling the dice, right? So that right there is something that we all want to hear, because sometimes we win, because we'll hear about your wins here in a minute, but we got to hit the valley low just to be sure that people understand, that from that failure or from that feat, what was the thing that you gained the most? Like, what would you tell yourself now, back then, when you were going through that and you're realizing that the business was failing, and that you're going to have to transition into something else?
The biggest thing is just remain confident, right? You so in this example, right, we had this internet portal software business that we had grown. We got millions of dollars in investment from a bunch of different places. Created a fantastic product. Honestly, still just a fantastic product with great technology. And we got to the point where we just didn't sell it enough, right? And if we still had financial backing, if the market stayed the same for maybe another year or two, we would have gotten there. But the environment went to where nobody was putting any money into anything anymore, right? So it had to crash.
So would you
right?
tell yourself to never give up and to keep going? Do you kind of look back and think, if we just kind of hobbled along and we just kind of dragged along for a couple of years, it would have been blown up and I would have had my multi-billion-dollar deal?
Well, let's see. So there's like a specific thing about that experience that, I think we were in a position where we had gotten so much financial or debt investment. I mean, it had to die.
There's no
right?
recovery.
There was no recovery from that.
Got it.
But on a more personal level, though, recovering from that is going to put self-doubt in your mind. right? It's
Mhm.
like, oh, maybe maybe I don't have what it takes, right?
Mhm.
But so my message to myself back then is maintain your confidence. You're still the same person. You still have the same capabilities, um, the knowledge, the smarts, the whatever.
Mhm.
So don't give up on yourself, right? You
Yeah.
may have to cut bait on something you try, but don't give up on yourself. Um, and so,
Yeah. So
and it,
audience out there, that is so wise because a lot of us embody our business like it's our part of our entity. And like when it fails, we feel like we fail and get really hard
yes,
on ourselves. And to really separate that failure into more like an experience or into a lesson and not just like beating ourselves up about it and realizing that actually that's probably going to be your greatest win later because probably that fire that was fueling you where you're feeling like I'm not good enough anymore, maybe I'm not cut out for this, I'm just feeling really defeated and uncertain about my future, probably fueled you to say actually I'm going to do what I really love is help my dad take all my skills and tools that I have that I've learned from all of this and make something that helps a million people, right? That
yeah,
might have
yeah,
fueled you into that.
yeah, exactly. So there was definitely self-doubt along the way. It's like maybe I don't have what it takes. So I went through a period. I did some independent consulting for a while, and worked at a couple different jobs for a year or two there. Then I ended up in a situation where I had the opportunity to go to Microsoft. I could have gone up to Seattle, worked in Microsoft. I was going to head up their contracts for the Windows for corporations.
Mhm.
So
Not
had
very
that
rewarding,
opportunity.
right?
Well, but I had that job offer in hand,
Yeah.
but I was also talking to my folks about what the future was for effective learning systems.
Hmm.
With this fantastic programming and all that stuff, they didn't have the drive and energy that that they, did when they first started it up. But it still
Yeah.
had fantastic potential. Um, and so I had this choice. I could take over the family business or go work at the Death Star. Um, and to me, there's a metaphor that I came up with at the time. It's like I could either get on the huge ship, right? Let's call it an aircraft carrier, and just be a crew on the aircraft carrier and cross the ocean on that, or get in my kayak and kayak across the ocean, right?
Yeah.
Because that's what it would be. Microsoft is this, huge, enormous beast. You'd be safe and secure and all that, but be kind of lost. But kayak, risk, huge risk. Off a kayak
Yeah.
on your own. We were just about to have a new kid, our first kid, and it's like, boy, that's definitely risk.
That's huge risk. Yeah. It's so uncertain, right? And that's what
Yeah,
entrepreneurs are so amazing. That's why you're on this show, this podcast,
yeah,
Evolutionary Entrepreneur, the ones that take those risks. Even when the uncertainty is looming, you're like, I'm going to do what feels good to me and, follow my heart. And that's important.
yeah. So you have to have, an appetite for risk. You have to have the self-confidence. Even after coming off of a meltdown, our dot-com meltdown, have the confidence that you can, recover and still be, the person that you have been and succeed in something. So
Yeah.
yeah, I ended up getting in the kayak, and I'm still in the kayak. So
Nice. You're
the
just
kite's a
waiting it
little,
out. And your websites are beautiful. Effectivelearning.com audience. If you want to get some amazing meditations to help while you sleep, like literally one of the pioneers, like over 40 years before, maybe around, I don't know, has Bob Proctor been around that long? But like the originals, like, and we got Bob Griswold, who's your
that's my
dad,
dad. Yep.
who published how many books? Like So many books,
Well,
right?
he's done a ton of audios, right? So we have so the
What about
main
the How to
vehicle,
Attract Money book and the Money
yeah,
Book?
How to Attract Money, which was republished again as Attract the Money and More, which the first book was translated in 7 different languages, and we just got Attract Money and More published in Japan as well.
Nice.
Yeah, it's so
So
couple of
you jump
books.
in feet first to support your dad and his amazing his amazing learning programs and meditation insights, and you
Yeah.
come to the realization that you're stepping in as CEO really to kind of re-steer everything, because it was also an innovation shift at that moment that Blockbusters and Barnes and Nobles and
Borders.
Sorry,
Yeah.
Borders is what I meant. But everything's changing, right? It's all going to this new global age of online, and you guys still have your products and CDs on the shelves, and right.
Yeah. So yeah, just to set the stage, when I took over, our most of our revenue was coming through the sales of cassette tapes in bookstores. Now, even at that time, so this is 2003, bookstores, spoken word audio was still very heavily cassette based. They didn't have nearly as many CDs as they had cassettes. And the reason is that a lot of spoken word audio was consumed in cars. And all cars still had a cassette tape player. A lot of people still didn't have a CD player in them. So, we had all of this wonderful content. We've added to it since then, but we had all this wonderful content. And my main focus was to create new channels for getting this out to people, whether it's in form, which would be CDs or digital downloads, or through an app, which is what we developed later on. So
you guys got the convergence. You had to converge, and through that, you also had some trials and tribulations, but making it through, even though one of your 60% revenue center, Borders went bankrupt, you had to shift very fast, and having to have the skill set and the know-how and the agility to do that. I mean, obviously you were listening to a lot of these meditations.
Yeah. And speaking of that, I definitely had to. But a lot of our programs really center around the psychology of entrepreneurship too.
Where can we find these? Can we Google that right now on effectivelearning.com? Are they on here?
Yeah, maybe a better way. Well, let's see. Let's go to the WiseGuideApp.com.
Oh, okay. Oh, yes. Let's go to
WiseGuide.
WiseGuide. So WiseGuide, audience out there, it's the WiseGuideApp.com.
Yep.
Don't forget that.
Yeah. And so if you go to programs up at the top of the page.
Programs.
And as you scroll down, you'll see that you can search by categories, right?
Oh, cool.
And so one of them is Attract Money.
Yes, Attract Money.
So
like a happy guy with all the money bags there.
Yeah. So we have a lot of content for entrepreneurs who, we talk about all the things that an entrepreneur has to be good at, right? Be able to take risks, have passion and motivation, and have the confidence, right? Confidence and perseverance to get through.
Yes.
So we have, a whole lot of programs here that can help you, get in the right mindset, know that you deserve success, and use your creativity. There's a lot of programs on creativity, like How to Attract Money, for example, takes you through a whole process of discovering what it is that you can do to deliver value to the world.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. 7 keys to prosperity and fulfillment, folks out there. Attract money and enjoy prosperity. Business success. These are only $15. You can get these insights and downloads for under $20. Goal achievement, discovering and developing your talents, being more confident. I mean, it's like so many tools here. The inner game of selling, improving your luck, leadership. Sorry for cutting you off there. I just wanted them to know how really amazing and all the different products you have on here that are very attainable and affordable.
yeah, and you can get individual programs if there are 2 or 3 that you really want, and you can buy them once and have them forever, or you can subscribe and have access to all of these things.
Oh, wow.
And it wouldn't be just this stuff. If
So
you
where is that in pricing? So these memberships, this free, like this, so there's a free membership, folks, here too at the WiseGuideApp.com. You can get free, but then there's an annual, which is only $8 a month. That's amazing.
yeah,
And you
and
get all
actually,
those.
and for your audience, we'll give you 30% off of your first subscription payment. So
Oh,
um,
awesome.
so it'd be basically like a little less than $70 for an annual, for a 1-year subscription, where you can listen unlimited anytime you want to, right there on your phone.
Well, that's so awesome. And he was so kind to make us our own code. So if you guys go to the WiseGuideApp.com, go into pricing and hit annual, it'll ask for, you could either go to the WiseGuide.com/charity, and then the
Yeah.
deal will be there.
The WiseGuideApp.com/charity, and the discount will automatically go in there. Or if you end up there another way, just use the discount code charity.
Yeah.
You'll
Oh
get
my
your
God, that's so
30% off.
awesome, Jeff. You guys, I can't encourage more. The best self-learning, you can just listen while you're driving to work, how to be more abundant and free, how to, really hone in on your best tools and skills. I mean, there's not only business on here. He's got conquering fears, attracting money, better sleep, addiction, stress management, weight control, love, parenting, personal growth, physical health, studying and performance, and it goes on and on and on. So I don't know what you could better spend your money on investing in yourself and in self-improvement for under $10 a month.
Yeah,
That's
and
really
a
awesome.
couple points to emphasize here. Number one, you got to understand that everything we do, every decision we make, every behavior we have, every habit we have, is a result of a thought in our minds, right? And a lot of times these thoughts are subconscious. Actually, most of the time, the thoughts are subconscious, and they've been programmed there through your life experience. Unfortunately, a lot of that experience has been negative. So what we've done is developed techniques to help you identify where you have negative thoughts, negative thought habits, eliminate those thought habits and replace them with positive, healthy, productive thought habits. Yeah. So by doing that, you really can change your life in a number of different ways.
It's true inner fitness, like going to the gym, right? You can't just say abracadabra one day, I'm going to put positive thoughts for that negative one and just think that poof, it's going to be gone. I mean, you got to practice it. You got to go to the gym and lift the weights to build the muscles. So you also have to do that internally, right?
Yeah, but the great thing is that it's easy, because all you have to do is listen, right? Just get the app, choose your programs, listen once or twice a day for at least 30 days. Start out with 30 days. A lot of people will do this for years, but within 30 days, you're going to see a difference. You're going to feel a difference in whatever goal it is you're trying to achieve.
Yes. And let's check out some of your testimonials. I mean, obviously your programs have been working for 40 years, and it's the same philosophy and principles that your dad's been teaching. So you guys have pretty much mastered the art of self-improvement, meditation, and guiding people on the right track. So you can see we got tons of testimonials here and lots of life-changing experiences. And you guys were published also recently in the Florida, right? Are your publications on here?
Oh yeah, we have our blog, I think, is showing some of the recent press that we've had.
So But your dad's been honored. You and your guys' programs have been recognized notably all over the world for many, many decades.
Yes. Yeah.
So yeah. So you guys, if you really want to shift in that mindset, and you know how I really dial into that, because that is everything really, and like tapping into your subconscious mind, really, you know, tapping also into the heart brain connection and really leading with your business with that higher level of you know discipline, you can really achieve anything. Like the sky's the limit. Actually, there is no limit. Like it really, if you really have that believing mindset, then we really can accomplish all things. And we have the most amazing tools right here that Jeff has got an amazing offer. So Jeff, on let's end this with some amazing words from one of your favorite guys, Michael Jordan, or any mentors or coaches or key things that you think the audience should hear before we go.
Well, you mentioned Michael Jordan because I recently wrote about that. And we talked a little bit about the failures that I've run into through my career. And one of my favorite quotes, which I come back to every once in a while, is from Michael Jordan. And it goes something like, I've missed, 3,500 shots in my life. I've been trusted with a game-winning shot, and missed like 500 times. All these different things that, you think out how great Michael Jordan was, and, he failed a lot too. And he ends it with, I've failed in all these different ways, and that's what makes me great, or something like that. Because he endured and learned from them.
Yeah, I think he said he failed so many times, I succeeded. So it's kind of like it's
and that's why I succeed. I think that's why I succeed.
I succeed. Yeah. So that's key. So, as you know, failure is not the end. It's actually probably something that we need to always investigate a little more and get all our learning lessons out of it, because, and it's all in our head. So don't be defeated, be fueled by it. And really, you can use apps like this, because there will be blocks where we feel like we've, disappointed ourselves, or maybe could have done better. And we don't want to stay stuck in that. So there's some amazing tools that we can use here on the WiseGuide app. Running, at the gym, driving, sleeping, like all the effortless ways you can better yourself all in one place. So I really loved having you here, Jeff. Like, it's really an honor to meet you. And I know that my audience surely appreciated all your insights and the opportunity to be able to, use the platform and get a subscription. I'm definitely signing up because I love that stuff. And I can't wait to hear all the cool insights, because
all right.
That's the best part of life, right? And what I learned there, I can also teach my students and refer them. So it's really exciting. I appreciate your time. And
thank you so much, Charity. It's great to see you again.
Great. Awesome. You guys, don't forget the wiseguideapp.com/charity and get your discount code and sign up. Have a beautiful day.